Alright, so animation. Something that is well known by everyone and loved by children. We usually see them in shows or in movies. But have you ever thought about animation in video games? And do you know the different types of animation used? There are so many different types of games that use animation. Here are some of the many examples of games. RPGs or role-playing games, such as Omori. Side-scrollers, like Limbo. First-person shooter games, also known as FPS, like Overwatch. Adventure games, one example is Night in the Woods. Platform games, like Rayman Legends. Puzzle games, like Unravel. Simulations, one example is the Sims series. Sports games, like Mario Tennis Aces. Survival horror, Silent Hill. Rhythm games, like Thumper. Open worlds, like the Legend of Zelda series. And finally, MMOs, or massively multiplayer online, such as World of Warcraft. Now, if you look closely, you are able to find some similarities and differences between the games. The two main types of animation used in video games are 2D animation and 3D animation. These usually depend on what type of game you are making. If there is high intensity or shooting involved in the game, it is usually 3D. If there is more of a story and it's calmer and more atmospheric, it could be 2D. However, the game you're playing may not always fit this stereotype. So, how is 3D animation used? Well, one modern approach is called skinning. So the basic idea is to create a skeleton, attach a skin, and then move the skeleton and the skin will follow. The skin is a 3D model made out of triangles. Each vertex of the triangle is attached to one or more bones. Animators use weights to define bones as influences. The weights at a joint must add up to 1. Skeletons have 2 types of poses. A bind pose, the skeleton's pose when the skin is first attached, and the current pose, any other pose of the skeleton. From then on, you just have to create frames, or still poses, and join them together. Now moving on to 2D animation. Lots of animators use this type of animation. To create an animation, you have to draw singular drawings called frames, and then add them together with a specific amount of frames per second to make it seem like these images are moving. You can make the animation smoother by drawing each singular frame. However, there's an easier way, called tweening. Basically, you will draw different parts of the body and then add them together. From then on, you will just move the different parts of the body accordingly. Game animators make their job much easier by creating animation cycles. For example, there will be a walk cycle, a run cycle, a jump cycle, and so much more. Then they will code it so when the controller is used, the right cycle would play. Now, animation that is used in video games is also very similar to the ones used in movies. However, there are also many differences. When animating for movies, the animator only has to animate what is in view of the shot camera. Games, however, are meant to be interactive. When you play a game, you'll have complete control of the character and the camera. Not only does the animation have to look good, it has to look good from every angle. For example, when a game is in third person, the player can move the camera and see a walk cycle or run cycle from a completely different angle. So you see, a lot of work is needed to do animation. Depending on the game, different types of animation are used. However, each game has its own differences and perks that makes it enjoyable and new.